There's the red light, waiting for the green light. It'll be here. It always shows up. Guess what? We are live. Yes, I'm Max. Welcome to Max Rants, Max Live, Max Allen Media, blah, blah. You like our living color banner? Ain't it cool? Anyway, it's a beautiful day here in the Mountain West. 65 degrees, clear skies, hot in the sunshine. But let's get down to today's rant. Understand something. We're looking at a situation where President Trump had to step in when he never should have had to. Let's go with this. The president has agreed to pay the overtime to Butch and Suni, the stranded astronauts. They didn't receive any overtime. They didn't get any kind of hazard pay, hazardous duty pay, anything. They got the flat salary for a 9-day program. And that salary and the time stretched out to over 9 freaking months. Now, don't you think, just take a minute. You're going up to the space station for 8 days, 9 days, kind of like Gilligan and the Skipper for a 3-hour tour, for a 9-day tour. Things started getting rough, and boom, 9 months. Don't you think that NASA owes them a little better than base pay? I do. You figure the hours they're putting in, the hours they're available, and their pay, it works out they're paid about $11.85 an hour. I can make more than that working at Walmart, sitting in a chair saying, "Hi, welcome to Walmart." Come on. After 9 months in space, 8.5 months longer than planned, our astronauts, they've landed on the Earth. They're down. Good old terra firma. Yeah, baby, put your feet in the sand. But that's where the problem begins. That's not where it ends. You remember, they sent them up there and they got screwed up and they stayed. In September, only 3 months into it, SpaceX launched a rescue ship and sent it up to get them. It's a 10.5 hour ride. 2 hours into it, NASA nixed the rescue mission and turned it into a supply mission. You understand? NASA screwed these people, kept them up there for 3 months and said, you know what? It's going to be 6 more before we can get around to getting you, even though Mr. Musk said, I'll have a rocket up there in 90 days. Too bad, Mr. Musk. They don't give a rat's about you, and they sure as hell didn't give a shit about Butch and Suni. It, in the words of my sainted grandmother, it makes my ass hurt. So while in space, NASA did authorize an additional per diem, like for incidental expenses, of only $5 a day. How about that, huh? Woohoo! No overtime, no other compensation of any kind. And NASA says, well, it's not our fault we screwed up. Right, imagine this. Like I said, you're sent up on an 8-day mission, turns into 9 months. NASA and Boeing are so incompetent that they risk your lives sending you up there. This is a ship, the Starliner, that was leaking helium months before they even dared to take off. In fact, it was leaking helium the day they lifted off. NASA said, well, the leaks aren't so bad they can't do the job. What the hell? I wonder if Butch had any idea they were flying up on a spacecraft that was leaking helium. What is the helium for? It provides pressure for the fuel for their retro rockets. Those are the little things that steer it. Pitch, roll, yaw, all the motions needed so you can line up with the damn space station. Well, it leaked before takeoff. It leaked during takeoff. It leaked during the trip. And even when they finally docked with the space station, that piece of crap was still leaking. Can you understand that? It was still leaking. Well, it took some real jockeying back and forth before Space Force finally stepped in and said, no, you're not sending them back on the Starliner. Send the Starliner home by remote control. And it's a good thing they did, because although it landed without incident, according to the black box, which is now public, the shock hitting the ground the way it did could have caused severe spinal injury to our 2 astronauts. So Space Force was right in overriding NASA, overriding Boeing, and saying, no, you're not flying them back on that piece of crap. So here we go. Their lives are risked. They get up there. They're trapped up there. A rescuer isn't allowed to rescue them. They get back. They're getting not nearly enough pay. Entered Donald John Trump. He said, I'll pay these guys. I'll pay them out of my own pocket. And he's written them checks out of his own account to pay them the fair wage, if there can be a fair wage, after NASA and Boeing screwed, blued, and tattooed them. Unbelievable. Mr. Trump is putting his money where his mouth is, much to the chagrin of the incompetent beagles running NASA. But wait, as they say, there's more. It's time to scrap NASA. Having outlived its usefulness, and Boeing showing that they are incapable of building jet airliners, let alone spaceships, for God's sake. NASA, it's easy. Send Linda McMahon in there. She'll shut them down in 90 days. God bless Linda McMahon. NASA has no business existing. SpaceX, Blue Origins, and other private firms, plus the European Space Agency, plus the Cosmos group in Russia. That's all we need for backup and supply. NASA, get rid of them. They're so DEI, I can feel it. All the way over here in Idaho, I can feel their Florida. Oh, DEI, go away! Get thee hither and be ye ashamed. God help us. Turn over all space operations to SpaceX, to Blue Origins, to the European Space Agency, to China's agency, to Russia's agency. Guys, the real answer in the end is going to be private aerospace. Private firms like Mr. Musk's, like Mr. Bezos. That's the answer. Because there are some things the government just should not be allowed to do. They can't do. Think of it. How many government programs and policies have been worth a damn? Hell, they made Social Security. It was a great idea right up into about the 70s when they really screwed it and said, look, we'll even pay this to people who haven't paid in. Let's do it. Let's make it a disability and old age thing. They screwed it. They screwed the military up. As soon as they had a chance, they screwed up the Army. They screwed up the Navy. The government, hell, they don't even print money properly. For God's sake, what is the purpose of the federal government? It should be to protect us from them. That's all I have to say. I am so pissed, but at least I'm proud that Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, has written checks to help Butch and Suni out of this unbelievable quagmire into which they were shoved by the incompetence, the DEI of Boeing Aircraft and NASA. That's it. I'm out of here.